Okay. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Alesia Baranava and I'm the ONA project coordinator here at the center. We hold community education workshops regularly for discussion of recent changes or news within the community. So thank you for joining us this morning for our monthly workshop. And today we are going to talk about pedestrian and bicycle safety. Now I would like to introduce our speakers, Lisanne, a traffic safety coordinator here at the center, Andrew Carcos, an assistant engineer with the Department of Engineering, City of Utica. Welcome. And also joining us today, one of our legal counsels, Karen Southwick, who will be making some remarks. And Lisanne, now I'm going to turn it over to you.
So good morning. Thank you for joining us for this great program. We are very excited that there's some pedestrian safety initiatives happening in Utica. They save lives and everyone needs to know the traffic safety rules. The rules are for everyone, pedestrians, bicycles, and motor vehicles. And so these things are happening to keep everybody safer and to save lives. You can find detailed information in multiple languages at this center on our website. If you go to community resources in the center of Utica Multilingual Materials Traffic Safety Department, there's lots of different information, but in particular for today, bicycle safety and pedestrian safety. So the big message that the state has is see and be seen. So see means for drivers to expect pedestrians, pay attention, don't text while driving, and obey the speed limits. And be seen is for pedestrians to use crosswalks, obey signals, look left, look right, look left again, and pay attention. And don't text while they're walking, while they're crossing. So there's more detailed information in multiple languages, which I've posted on this video. I'm not going to go through all of the details. You certainly can come back later and look at these slides or go to the website, thecenterutica.org, community resources. In the news recently, there was a gentleman who was hit on Route 12 on the corner of Route 12 and Noyes Street in December of 2020. So the gentleman was run over by a car, and the car left the scene of the accident, and someone else found him, and he was transported to a hospital. And that particular intersection has lots of signals and devices to keep people safe. So if you happen to hit somebody or something, you have to stop and report it and make sure that that person gets help. And then there was a second incident that happened towards the end of last year as well. There was a gentleman who was walking home from work on Route 12 by Walmart. It was on a pedestrian, or not on a pedestrian overpass. He was on a off ramp on Route 12, and he was run over by a vehicle and then run over by another vehicle, and he was killed. The first vehicle did not stop and come back until the police had they found out who did it, they saw who did it, and they issued a warning. So there, it's just, there's two lessons that I'd like people to get is to, if you're walking, be very careful where you're walking and to walk in the crosswalks, walk when the signals tell you to walk, and watch for cars. And in this case, the gentleman was walking in the wrong place. So it's actually illegal to walk on the highway because it's just not safe. And somebody ran him over and she didn't immediately report it. So it's all very unfortunate and sad. So what do you think? Who, like participants, what do you think about all that? Like, wow.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate to hear stories like this. And being an immigration lawyer, I just wanted to mention that any violation of the law is very serious and will be considered by the immigration agency, by USCIS. So if you are involved in an accident, you certainly don't leave the scene, don't flee the scene of a crime. So I guess my point is, don't ever leave the scene of a crime. It could lead to a civil lawsuit by the person or criminal charges, which could end up in some consequences on your immigration status. Certainly if alcohol is involved, if you get charged with drinking and driving, that could have very big consequences on becoming a citizen, on renewing your green card, or even on getting your green card. So my advice is, if you are involved in one of these incidents and you're not sure if it's had an impact on your status or what you should do, please feel free to talk to an immigration lawyer, get someone's opinion. Certainly don't leave the scene of an accident if you've hit someone's property with your car, or certainly hit somebody, you can't just leave. So
Thanks, Karen. Okay, we'll move to the next slide. Oh, so this is great. We're going to let Andy talk about all the great things the city of Utica is doing. So, but back just a little bit, the reason the city is put this pedestrian action plan in place is that the why are in part those two stories, because there's more stories than that. That's why we want people to be safe. We don't, one life is too many, and there's too many that end up losing their lives. So go ahead, Andy, sorry.
No problem. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, that's exactly correct. People get hit or die, and it's not a good situation. So the reason this project is in the works is because actually this area qualified, and the reason we qualified is because some of those incidents that were mentioned, people are not safe or they get hit. So we qualified for that reason, and we have a project that's in the design phase. So hopefully we'll be seeing this go to construction phase next shortly. But it's the Utica Pedestrian Safety Action Plan. It basically takes about close to 50 locations in the city and enhances the safety aspects, adds signs, repaints the crosswalks. Um, Out of those 50 locations, there's about 28 that are signalized locations. Now, when I say signalized, it means it just has a traffic signal. So it's a standard traffic signal that obviously vehicles have to abide by. The other locations are unsignalized. So basically, there might be a stop sign or whatever. But there are crosswalks and things in place for pedestrians also. So that's the project we're working on right now. Like I said, we want to advertise it shortly and have it out for construction, hopefully this summer and fall time. It's roughly a $500,000 project, and we'll see as soon as the bids come back. We'll see what we can do with that money and get the contractors out there to do this work. So to make the city safer.
Excellent. Sounds very cool. So can you talk a little bit about the Mohawk Street over by Hannaford Plaza and the what changes are proposed for that area to make it safer?
Yeah, so this is one of the signalized locations. There's a traffic light there where the Hannaford Plaza is and Dunkin Donuts access. This is on Mohawk Street. So there will be enhancements made. There will be a new accessible pedestrian signal installed, which will have like a push button that you can push, and it'll indicate when you can walk, when you shouldn't walk, or when how much time you have to cross the street. In addition to that, there will be new crosswalks painted across the driveway to Hannaford Plaza and across Mohawk Street. And also, I want to point out that this is actually very close to a school zone also. So we do have some measures in place there already where the speed should be reduced to 15 miles an hour. We have signs there and we have flashing lights, actually operated by a solar powered system. So obviously, we want to make it safe to cross, well, especially for everyone, especially with kids getting out of school. But if you're shopping in Hannaford, or if you're shopping in the area, you want to be safe and you want to use the crosswalks, and you want to make sure you use the accessible pedestrian signals when you're crossing the road.
So if somebody wanted to just like kind of cross the walk over here because it might be faster, they think. What's your recommendation?
No, there's too much traffic there, and really you're crossing mid block, so that would be actually illegal, jaywalking. So that's highly not recommended. The crosswalks there are there for a reason. It's number one to make you safe, make it safe for everyone to cross. They're in front. There's a stop bar for vehicles there, so all the vehicles will be stopped and back, and the pedestrians should cross in front of them. That's the place you want to cross. That's the safest place.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. It's great information. And then we have Genesee Street and the Memorial Parkway. So can you talk a little bit about what's going in there, Andy?
Yes. There's another location that's going to be getting upgraded, and it is a signalized location, so it does have the traffic signals. We will be enhancing that by adding the accessible pedestrian signal, which does have again, the push button where you can push the button, tells you when you can start walking. It tells you when you shouldn't start walking, when there's not a lot of time left. It will have a countdown timer, so you can see the seconds you have left to cross. And does have a signal, a visual, and an audio that tells you not to walk. Obviously, when there's traffic flow going through, and the other enhancements will be brand new, what we call type LS crosswalks, which is the white crosswalks, ladder type with the cross hatching. So those will be going through all around the whole intersection, on the Parkway and Pleasant Street, Genesee Street, north side and south side, and both parts of Burstone Road.
Excellent. So we're taking a little walk towards the center here, down Genesee Street. So this is the State Street, Genesee Street, Park Avenue, and Oneida Street roundabout. Tell me a little bit about that.
So this was actually a project maybe 5 years back that the state did, where I don't even remember the old roundabout. Well, yeah, actually wasn't a roundabout. It was a night of square, which had a whole bunch of lights all over the place. So the roundabout, I think, made it better for motorists, and I'm hoping it made it better for pedestrians also and bikers. The roundabout is designed to keep traffic flowing, but it reduces the speed. So I think the average speed maybe through the roundabout is maybe up to 10 miles an hour. Uh, Hopefully not beyond that. So, but we do have existing signs there where we want folks to cross the street. Uh, but this area will be also getting enhancements by getting new paint. Uh, the crosswalk paint doesn't last that long, so every few years it's got to get reapplied. So that will be one enhancements, crosswalks repainted on Park Ave, Genesee Street, Nida Street, and Yeah, so what we want folks to do is just use those crosswalks, and those crosswalks are actually placed like between these islands, these stamped concrete islands. So let's say if you get through one part of Genesee Street, but then you see a vehicle coming, you can actually stop and wait. Well, the vehicle should wait for you, but just in case, you are probably safe in that between those two islands. It's a raised island with stamped concrete. So those are there now. But anyway, so the enhancements will be brand new paint for the crosswalks. Is the majority of the enhancement in that location.
Okay. And then it looks like there, if somebody wants to cross State Street here, they need to walk down a little bit onto State Street and then cross in front of the Cornerstone Church and then cross Plant Street over to Dunkin Donuts if they're going to head back up Genesee Street,
That,
right?
that would make it a lot safer for folks. Just keep them out of the immediate area where the traffic might be coming through and not see folks that are trying to cross. So we want to add to that sight distance for motorists, and obviously we want pedestrians to also be able to see the vehicles that are coming that might affect them crossing at that point.
That's great. Good to know. Thank you. Oops, went the wrong way. So we're at the center on Bleecker Street. And if you look up the road this way, if you're looking visually from the center, this diagram depicts Genesee, Bleecker Street, Genesee Street, and Lafayette. So it looks like they're getting new paint on the crosswalks again.
Yep. New paint
And
and also new accessible pedestrian signals. Again, those push buttons signals where folks could just walk up, push the button, and uh, and they get a good indication of when they can cross and then when they shouldn't cross.
right, so
So
it
those
makes
will be
noise too, right?
yeah.
They make some noise.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That is great. So here we are. We're going to take a walk. And we're at the center, 201 Bleecker Street. And so be on the lookout in the city. You're going to be seeing more pedestrian crossing signs, and this is a school crossing sign. This one typically is near school. This one is for both, well, they're for both drivers and for the walkers to alert everybody to be paying attention. And it should be a good reminder to pay attention even when you don't um, see the sign, because people are walking everywhere we go here. In front of the center, there's a crosswalk in front of that goes over to Centro, and then another one that crosses in front of where the buses are in Centro. It looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, like you're going to be adding some signage to that. Some of these pedestrian signs will go up there.
Correct. It's all
And
new signs there. So you're gonna see a lot of brand new bright yellow pedestrian crossing signs, pedestrian crossing ahead and pedestrian crossing right at the crosswalks. So those signs should jump right out at the motorists. Hey, there's a crosswalk here. I gotta slow down. So, and the crosswalks will also get repainted. So those will also be a lot more visible. And I think the crosswalk in front of the Central crossing in front of Central, that one's pretty worn out. Um, the one crossing Bleecker is still maybe all right, but that will also get repainted. So yeah, just a lot more visible signs, a lot more visible crosswalks, brand new paint for the crosswalks.
yeah, so my pet peeve is that people always cross in the middle of the street. They know, I mean, all the time. I see people crossing in the middle of the street here. Is that, could that be a problem for somebody?
Definitely, that's not designed for pedestrians crossing. So you want to stay within that crosswalk. That's the safest area. Obviously, you want to avoid traffic vehicles unfortunately, sometimes, accidents happen and well, we sometimes call them crashes because it's accidents is, doesn't sound as bad, but when something crashes into you, especially a vehicle, that's not a good thing. So use the crosswalks.
All right, thank you. Thanks for repainting them. All right, what's next? Where are we going? Oh, so that's the center. So we're walking now towards John Street. These folks are crossing at a crosswalk, which was recently painted by the city. Thank you for us, or for the people. So they're crossing and they're crossing Bleecker Street. So if you're going to cross Bleecker Street, you cross at Centro or down here at the end of our building. And this car is coming up. He doesn't have a stop sign, but he's stopped. This truck stopped to let these ladies and people rather cross. So that it was all working well that day. So those folks could be walking up more towards Elizabeth Street, right? Up Elizabeth Street's where the courthouse is, right? Yeah. So they could be walking from the center up to Elizabeth Street, and it looks like some new crosswalks are being placed on Elizabeth Street as well, and signage to make it safer for people.
Brand new signs again, actually, a few hundred feet east and west of this intersection. So there'll be 215 feet to the west, cross pedestrian crossing ahead sign, and then 200 feet to the east will be a pedestrian crossing sign ahead, and then a brand new crosswalk at the central entrance location, and the type S markings, what we call just a single white stripe all around the rest of that intersection.
Awesome. That's great. And then up on Blandina Street, looks like there's some additional signage and crosswalks happening there as well.
Yes. Again, brand new bright yellow pedestrian signs, and pedestrian crossing ahead sign, and type LS crosswalks and type S crosswalks. Pretty much all through that Union Blandina intersection.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.
Let's see what's next. So the laws, just reiterate, laws for crossing the street. Walkers cross at intersections and crosswalks and follow crossing signals. Drivers yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk when there is no signal and no sign. You should always yield to pedestrians. Laws for crossing the street. If there are no crosswalk, sign, or signal, you yield to all vehicles. It's safer to cross at an intersection. Okay, so this doesn't have any signage, no crosswalks, but it's safer to cross here than in the middle of the street somewhere else. Crosswalks, and so we're back at the end of our building. Crosswalks on sidewalks, cross at the crosswalks and intersections. So we're going to head towards John Street this time. So let's see if this will pay. Can you hear it? You guys can't hear it. So there's an audible sign. So these are the signals that Andy is talking about that will be placed in so many different parts of our city. They're not currently there now, they are at this one. So when you see the white guy light up, that's when you start crossing to watch for vehicles clearly first. Look left, look right, look left again. When the red hand is flashing, you do not start crossing, you finish crossing. And then there's a timer that also tells you how much time is left to finish crossing. And if you see a steady red hand, it means don't cross. So that has a steady red hand, so you wait. And so this is just another example. You can see that slide. Okay, so this means you walk, this means you don't walk, and this means that you just have to finish up walking. I had one woman tell me once that she saw that sign going like this and she didn't know why they gave you so little time to cross the street, because she ran across the street and she could never make it in time because that's was not the right time to walk. Okay, this is the right way to walk. That's why we're doing these education sessions. We want everybody to be safe. So this is some new markings on the road that are just down from the center. So the parking garage is here. This is John Street. So it has a crosswalk here and here. There are, and this yield word on the road is meant for the traffic circle. It's meant for a car to yield to in the traffic circle. So again, so here's the crosswalk. So if you're driving and somebody's in the crosswalk, what do? You yield to them regardless, like you yield to the walker. So you let them cross. You might stop here and let them cross and then continue on. Okay. So there's a bunch of different ways to get across John's, or to go from John Street down to, say, you want to go to the Observer Dispatch, or you want to go to the federal building for, say, a citizenship ceremony, or go to the DMV. So use the crosswalks to get there. So this is the opposite side of the road. So there's a crosswalk that comes here and goes across, and that's indicated by the sign, so you can see. This is a little further down the road. There's maybe a little simpler intersection, but it has a crosswalk here. And we'll talk about this green stuff later. So this is a bike path. This green is where, if you're riding a bike, you should ride your bike along that green. Not all bike areas are marked. If you're riding a bike, you should be riding with, if you're an adult, riding with traffic. If you're a child, a small child, you should ride on the sidewalk with your parent near you. But bicycle riders follow the same traffic safety rules as vehicles do. But they're making it safer for bicycles so that the vehicles know also that bicycles are likely to be on the road. So always walk on the sidewalks. If there's no sidewalk, you walk facing traffic so you can see the people, so you can see the driver, you can actually see their eyes while you're walking. And if you're walking on the road, you should wear bright light reflective garments. This is walk on the sidewalk. It's my video. The sound isn't working. But the point is to walk on the sidewalk, please. And pretty soon we look down the road and, okay, so there's a place to cross here. And there's also, I believe there's a button too, to, and it kind of, there's some reflectors that start to flash. So the vehicles know that you might be crossing the road there. So say you want to go to the Oneida Public Market at the train station, you could cross here, but push the signal button and it'll make cars slow down. So when I took this walk the other day, so this opportunity was here, and then I saw somebody like here running across the road, so somewhere where there wasn't a cross signal, like they were coming from over here and they ran across the road and they were dodging like all this traffic. And really that's not optimal. It's also against the law. for the pedestrian to do that. It's pretty easy to get hurt that way. So really look for these opportunities to cross at the crosswalks. Oops. So when you get to that signal, you push the button and then it kind of flashes for the cars. It's not giving them a stoplight though, it's just warning them. So you still have to yield. You know, they're supposed to yield to you as a walker, but if they're not doing that, clearly don't walk out in front of them. Bicycles, again, they go with traffic. And if you're on a walking path, then bicycles can ride on the path. If your bicycles should always pass on, pass people this way and say on your left or something like that to let them know that you're coming. And bicycles always wear a helmet. Okay, because it protects your head, your neck, and your spine if you crash. This is the parking garage. So it's Burnett Street, just behind the center. And lucky for me, there was a gentleman who was working on the street. And I said, I didn't understand what these green lines were. Like I knew this was a crosswalk, but I wasn't sure what these green lines were. And he said, that's the bicycle path. It just shows the continuation. So you wonder why they have two lines of sidewalk, but it really isn't. So this is a sidewalk and this is the bicycle path in this new portion of Oriskany Boulevard, which is kind of cool. It makes it a lot safer if we can have that extra line there for bikes, right? So then they're not so much in the road. Any questions or comments? Alesia, Olivier, Karen, any questions about all that's going on here in Utica with traffic and pedestrian safety and bicycle safety?
So I do not have any questions, but I just wanted to add that safety is the most thing that for everywhere. Government is spending a huge amount on awareness. So having the road slogans is a great way to remind people to respect the rule of the roads. So I just want to say to everybody, let's stay alert and let's stay safe.
Okay, see and be seen.
In BC.
All right. Thanks. Have a great day, everybody. Look forward to a safe and wonderful summer, and hopefully we're all back at it this year
Thank you,
before
Lisanne.
too long.
Thank you, Lisanne. And I
All
just
right.
want to say thank you to Andy and Karen and Lisanne for extremely valuable information that you shared with us today. And since there's no more questions, we'll be closing our workshop. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we are the Office for New Americans Opportunity Center at the center, and we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.